Hi, how's it everybody? I'm back. Part 2 of my journey with prostate cancer. Before I carry on from part 1, just a couple of things. English is not my home language. My home language is Afrikaans. Us and the Dutch can understand each other, so it's close to Dutch. So if I say things and the sentence construction is not right, or I miss a tense here and there, then please forgive me. Secondly, I've been trying to turn the comments on this YouTube channel that I created, but I don't know, I'm doing something wrong somewhere. And I have 2 IT boffins in my family, my children, and both of them are working on it, so just please bear with us. Right. Part 1 ended when I said that the urologist told me that I had to go for a biopsy. I said, alright, I understand. What is the procedure? How long? He said, well, you can fit me in about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks later. I said, well, there's just one problem. As we had a camping off-road holiday planned in the southern part of Namibia, and we were leaving, or we were to leave, the Friday after I saw it. And he understood immediately, and he said, how long is the holiday? I said 2 weeks. He said, well, 2 weeks is not going to make that much of a difference. So we scheduled the biopsy for the 7th of October in 2019. I went on a lovely camping holiday with my wife and 4 very, very good friends. It was a major part of my life, and it was very, very good. That said, you know, you still have this PSA of 53 point something going somewhere hanging over your head. And part of you want to believe it's something else. It's not the big C, that word which everybody is scared of. It's not that. It's something else. There was an infection, and the infection got helped a little bit, so maybe it's something else. But also, you know, PSA of 53 something is serious. It's not just elevated by cycling. For instance, a couple of years ago, I went for my regular checkup, and my PSA was something like 8.4, if I remember correctly, and the doctor, the urologist secretary, also phoned me and says he wants to see me, he wants to do a biopsy. And I phoned my best friend in Canada. He's a doctor. He's been in Canada for 25 plus years. And I just talked to them, because we had a we had a holiday planned, me and my wife. We were to cycle the Camino de Santiago de Compostela in Spain. So everything was set, and now suddenly he wants to do a biopsy 2 weeks before I'm supposed to leave on a cycling trip. And my friend said, yeah, but you cycle a lot. And I say, yeah, I do a lot. We spend a lot of hours in the saddle training. And he says, well, it's a well-known fact that cycling, or a lot of cycling, excuse me, elevates the PSA. So he said, you know, go and do the cycling trip, come back, stay off the cycle for 10 days and redo the PSA. So that's what I did. And I came back and my PSA was down to some 2.8. So there's always this thing in the back of my mind, you know, it might be something else. It's not the big C. Although it's 63 or 53 or whatever, let's hope it's something else. As I had no symptoms, nothing, no symptoms whatsoever. I did not have urinary problems and excessive peeing at night, or battling to urinate or anything like that. I had no symptoms. Apart from the discomfort in my right groin, there was nothing else. So you have this in your mind as well, this playing in your mind against the 63 or 53 PSA, but there's nothing wrong. I feel okay. After the fact, when my wife and I talked about it, we realized that I was extremely tired over that period. I was exhausted. On previous camping trips we did, I was one of the last 3 to stay around the campfire before going to the caravan. But in this particular trip in Namibia, I was night after night the first one to leave. I was in bed by 8, 8:30. I always read. I love reading. I'm always busy with at least 4 or 5 or 6 books. I took books with on that holiday. I never read a page. By the time my wife came to the caravan, came to sleep, I was gone. I was fast asleep. I was in dreamland. And I slept well. It was not getting up every 10 minutes or half an hour or an hour. I slept. But I was tired. I was very, very tired. And if you read up, that's one of the symptoms. Exhaustion. But that was all. So, again, you have this conflicting things that maybe it's okay. Maybe it's going to be okay. During this whole period, I was on antibiotics. The trip in Namibia as well. The urologist explained that before you do a prostate biopsy, you go on a course of antibiotics to prevent infection, because that's an obvious place for infections to happen. So I went in for the biopsy, and it wasn't bad. I don't like anesthesia. I don't do well on anesthesia. But that was alright. I felt fine, wasn't hurt, wasn't sore. I was groggy, but that's it. And that was on a Monday. And I went to work on the Tuesday. I was fine, 100%. And then on the Wednesday morning when I woke up, I was sick. And just after 1, I had a fever, and it was terrible. Later that afternoon, the urologist phoned and he said they took, I can't remember, I think it was 20 samples. 16 of them was positive. It was mostly on the right side of the prostate. Gleason of 9, 4 plus 5, and he wanted to see me again. And then it hit home. As sick as I was, I remember sitting down on the bed. I have cancer. That thing, that word, that no one wants to say. I have it. And cancer is incurable. It doesn't matter who says what. You are never cured of cancer. You might get better, the treatment might work, you might go into remission, or like with prostate cancer, your PSA drops to undetectable levels, 0.02, but it never goes away. If you don't die from cancer, and you die from something else, you will die with cancer. And that concept really hit home. I realized that this is something that I am never going to get rid of. This is something that is going to be with me for the rest of my life. So yeah, my wife came home later that afternoon from work, and when she walked in, she just knew. She just knew. She didn't even ask me or anything. She just walked in, looked at me and knew. And it was extremely difficult for her too, because she lost her mother to cancer when she was 18 years old. And she lost her father, my father-in-law, in 1992, also as a result of cancer. So we didn't say much. There's not much to say. Yeah. Let's do the rest next time.